Hello, people. Welcome, welcome. This is Mike with a few more comments on this great day in which God has given me the breath of life. And we thank Him for all He does for all of us. A lot of things on my mind. I just thinking about one thing in particular. I saw the picture of the Dallas Cowboys owner standing on the steps of a school, I believe, there in Little Rock, Arkansas, back in probably the mid-50s, to thwart the integration of Central High School there. Well, that was the way it was back in those days. I was a very young lad then, but I remember all of that. And I even attended segregated schools in the South. And I thought I got a pretty decent education for the most part. Until, of course, when I matriculated in college, I found that there was a lot of things I was lacking. I'm not blaming my teachers or anything for that. Just that I didn't apply myself properly, I can say that. But I also noticed something back in those days when I would go around the high schools, white high schools. We usually could play on the facilities around there. Well, I don't know whether we had permission or not, we just played there. And I would look through the windows of this junior high school there, and I saw Bunsen burners and all types of lab equipment, microscopes inside these segregated school. And I remember when I got to the 8th grade, we didn't have anything like that. That's where junior high started when I was going to school. Matter of fact, we only had one grade for junior high, and that was the 8th grade. But we had no type of equipment. So it was, what we had was separate but unequal treatment, unequal facilities. And that's the way it was in the South. I mean, a lot of people I hear blacks saying today, well, hey, we don't, I don't need any reparations. And the reason I don't, because I wasn't back there during those times. Well, now you hear, of course, you hear the whites say the same thing, that they don't owe any reparations for blacks, because they wasn't back there. They wasn't slave owners or masters or nothing like that. Well, my take on that whole thing is this. And I remember, my son writing something like this once. And he said, if you go and rob a bank and you take that money and you start business with it, And you never get caught. You never had to pay that money back. But your kids, you start a business that becomes, say, like just for the sake of something, Coca-Cola bottling company, Herschel chocolate, just to name a couple there. What's another one? Johnson & Johnson products. These are old companies, IBM, the railroads. And you still have people in this country, whites, that's living off of that money, off of the what this tycoon or this thief created. So my point here is they have everything that they've got in life, that old money or whatever, it all came back from the theft of that bank. So that's the same thing with slavery. All these companies that were created off the, if you go back and do a little research, you'll find that the American economy actually almost created the stock exchange in this country. Because that was the main commodity, slaves, human beings, placed into slavery to work for free. And that's what happened in this country. And there's many people benefited from that. From the money that was made back during those days. But blacks got nothing from that. After emancipation, it seemed like a glorious time for blacks to elevate themselves, start building lives for them and their families, making themselves economically viable. But it didn't quite. It happened like that maybe 10 years. That was called during that period after slavery to somewhere in the 1870s. They call that the Reconstruction period. But back then Congress, or maybe it was Lincoln or whoever, authorized that blacks would get 40 acres and a mule. Well, you know what? That never came to fruition because a Democrat by the name of Andrew Johnson, he came in and rescinded that particular order. And he also withdrew all the troops from down south. And he also gave reparations to all the southern slave owners and gave them back all their properties and paid them reparations for what they had supposedly lost. Now, who said that they don't take care of themselves, And they also created the Ku Klux Klans. And this is what was the beginning of Jim Crowe. And for those of you young people out here saying they don't need any reparation, Jim Crowe stipulated that blacks could not walk on the same sidewalk as whites. They could not to go into any establishment, eating establishment, and congregated in the same seating area where whites congregated. They couldn't go to the movies. They had to if they went to a theater in that town, they had to sit upstairs. Fortunately for us, we had our own theaters. We had 2 theaters in the town I grew up in, which was Macon, Georgia. And we didn't have to really go around whites just about for anything. We actually did have separate facilities, although they were not equal, but in many places, they didn't have separate facilities for blacks. So black go to a restaurant that was owned by whites. They didn't like the Greyhound bus station. Now there was a colored section and a white section. But in many places where they had things like this, the black had to go around to the back and buy whatever they wanted to buy and go and sit up under a tree somewhere and eat it. Now, during the period of Reconstruction, there were more blacks hanged than during slavery. Why is that? Because they had created the Ku Klux Klans, the most terrorist group that ever lived in this country, or been around there, or created in this country, and they're still around. But the Ku Klux Klans, they hung many blacks. They would beat them. They would burn their homes down. They would do whatever they could to keep blacks subjugated. They even had laws that no black could create a business that would compete with a white business. So this was such a disarray. They also created, under the Willie Lynch rule, they created, keep them divided. Let them think one is better than the other. Let them fight amongst themselves. And that way you can control them. So first of all, we didn't get the 40 acres and a mule because they gave all that land back to the former slave owners. So now, I know a lot of people upset with seeing Jerry Jones' picture. Well, I don't know anything about how much he participated in it. I'm sure he was up there shaking his hands and telling people not to, they didn't want those Negroes on the in that school. I'm sure he was doing all of those things. He was probably a staunch segregationist during that period. There's no doubt about it. Nothing he can say can get him away from that, take that away from him. But you got to remember something. People change. And I'm not saying I forgive anybody, forgive white folks I won't forgive them until they give me, my people, the reparations that we deserve. They always look at it and say, well, look at how Joe Blow over there. Look at John Doe over there. Look how good they are doing. You kidding? Well, that's the same way they do it now. You see how they brought up the rappers and made them multi-millionaires, and some claim to be even billionaires. But what good is that doing the rest of the blacks? Nothing. They're all part of that same little elitist group out there that controls everything in this world. But they don't control anything. They just in that circle, so to speak. So what good is having a few blacks to make it, but then the vast majority of them are not making it? And I wonder sometimes, why is it that they've come out here with this LBGT crap, and they treating those people as if though they were black people, We didn't make a choice to be black. I'm proud to be black now. But they made a choice to be LGBT, so you can't put them on the same equal standards, status as I, or as any black person. Then you had the white women. You made them a minority. Then you had the Hispanics. They all minorities. Then the Indians, they flood this country with the Indians. They all were minorities. They didn't want to get to go up the ladder. Then the Arabs came over. They all minorities. They fly up the ladder. But no, they don't give blacks that opportunity. I just noticed one thing that they did recently, Goldman Sachs. They set aside $10 million for black women to get funds to start their businesses or do whatever. And when I saw that, I said to myself, where are the funds for the black men? You know, just in my own family. I saw one of my nieces. She's got a job in this corporation. She has no degree, but she's a high-level person in that corporation. Her brother has a degree, but he couldn't even get a job in there. I'm saying, what is going on? And you know what's going on. And black people, you have to wake up. They are pushing and placing the black woman above the black men to make them feel superior to the black men. Therefore, the black men become the lowest on the pecking order. And the women, it helps create 70 to 80% of all households being ran by black women. It is unreal. But that is what is happening today. And then we have black men going around talking about we don't need reparations, but yet they're giving reparations to the black woman right under your nose, and you don't even know it. And a black woman sits in there have to tell one black guy, you do need reparation. But he's so ignorant. They're trying, I don't know who he's trying to appease with that type of talk, that he doesn't need any reparations. He doesn't know where he would be today had his great-grandparents and grandfather had been able to build businesses just like any other white or other minority that comes in this country. Because we see, even though Jim Crowe, they say, it was over with, sure, we can go and sit where we want to. In some cases, we can buy houses just about where we want to. But it's not about all of that. Look at what's happening to your communities, people. Wake up. Go there and look at what's happening in Detroit. Look what happened in the Bronx, Harlem. Look at the Philadelphia. Look at the country places where blacks live, the rural areas. Look at what is happening. This has to change, but it won't change, people, until we wake up and come together. I want to hear your comments and what you think about what is going on. I mean, don't just take my word for it, for what I see as I go around here. Do your own research. So with that, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to this video, to this my channel, like this video, and we can bring you more candid and open commentary like this, because it's important that we get the word out. Now, if you don't want to share this, don't share it, but take some action after you listen to this. Take some action. I don't care what it is. Talk to your friends. Try to form networking groups within your family. Start there. See if you can pull your family together and get a different mindset about what is happening. Because I tell you, people, I think Dr. Claude Anderson said it best. He said all that's happening now to black people was come to fruition, and that has exactly what he predicted and what he stated would happen is happening. But we don't have to keep going down this rabbit hole. We can reverse ourselves now and go up and lift ourselves up. As Booker T said, Booker T. Washington said, reach down and lift ourselves up by the bootstraps. We can do that. Even if we don't get the reparation, we can come together as a group of people determined to govern ourselves accordingly. We can first start by getting people to around us, blacks I'm talking about, to act appropriate, to dress appropriate, to get back to what we used to be like in the 60s and 70s. Today, like I said, we just going in the wrong direction. And it's all because of this. I keep coming back to it. It's all because of this rap music. And there might be some other things involved. But for sure, this rap music has destroyed our communities because it has gotten the minds of our young people from back in the 90s all the way up. And someone said to me, a friend of mine said, well, I blame all of this on us. Well, when you got someone out there that's controlling the propaganda, the brainwashing, there's not too much anybody can do, especially when they control the airways and these rappers and everybody else. There's not too much you could have done, or I could have done. Only thing we could do, I tried to do, was to raise mine correctly. And I thank God that they are doing okay, and they are working. They are not out there doing some of these things like that. And I did a lot of talks, career days and stuff like that with youth. But that rap is more powerful than I could ever be. So people, subscribe, and let's stay focused, and let's get together. Have a great day.